Hello and welcome to another episode of Weekly Waypoint. We're playing Halo Infinite again, and it's captured a flag this time, and I play like doo-doo for the first half of the round because I'm very distracted by the fact that I've just been kicked out of my Final Fantasy 14 queue, and after many hours of queuing from position 4,000, I'd been kicked all the way back up to 8,000, so I wasn't really, my head wasn't in the game, shall we say, for the first half of this round. I was slightly miffed. So a lot of blindly rushing forwards, but hey, what's different than usual there? This is Capture the Flag. I chose this game because, well, firstly, theatre mode was working, so that was a nice surprise. But secondly, I think at the end, I'm not going to give away the results of it, but I think at the end I had like 25 kills and 25 deaths. And it was just very hard fought. This entire video is this one game, and it's not like the most amazing game in the world or anything, but it was just an experience. I was actually considering swapping it up this week and playing something else for the weekly waypoint because it's been Halo Infinite for a few weeks in a row now and I don't want it to get stale and so on and so forth. But hey, I kinda ran out of time / motivation to try anything / options while waiting in a Final Fantasy 14 queue, because that's why I lost my place in queue. You can, if you notice it kick you out immediately, quickly log back in and remain in your proper place in the queue. I managed to do that last night a couple of times, but I was playing Halo and I tabbed back in and I saw I'd been kicked out of a queue and it was too late, and I'm still a little bit salty about it, to be honest, because last night I was about to finish Stormblood. I was just about to queue for what I'm pretty sure is the final trial of the expansion, and I didn't realise it had left the previous dungeon ticked in my queuing list, so it queued me into that dungeon, and I know it's probably a shitty thing to do to leave, but I'd literally just played that dungeon and I had to get up early for work in the morning, so I just left it, and it hit me with a half an hour penalty and I didn't have half an hour to wait, so I was like, I guess I'll play it tomorrow. And now I'm at position 7,000 in queue. I'm like, I might have to play it tomorrow, but hey, I guess I'll be patient. Enough whinging about queue times. So yeah, obviously, I guess we'll start Final Fantasy then. I've been playing through Stormblood. There's going to be some videos of me playing through Stormblood. I'm going to be continuing the Adventures in Eorzea series, even though half of that expansion technically doesn't take place in Eorzea. Whoops, thought it was a Azeroth situation with the Eorzea naming, but no, turns out that's just the name of a continent. Oh well. I honestly thought that after playing through Heavensward, or Heavensward, I still don't know how to pronounce it, I thought Stormblood was kind of boring, but it turns out it's just a slow burn and it gets really good as you get further through it. I just want to play it. I just want to play the video game, but the queues are still insane because Endwalker came out, was it a week ago now? And there's still like 8,000 player queues every day, and I just want to play the. I don't even care about Endwalker. Just put me on a separate server where Endwalker isn't even available. I know that's not how that works, but you know, one can dream. Sorry, I said I wasn't going to whinge about the queue, and then I whinged about the queue. But I haven't just been playing Final Fantasy 14 Stormblood. I've been I'm trying to get rid of this. I haven't just been playing Final Fantasy 14 Stormblood. I'm trying to get rid of that tone in my voice, if you couldn't tell. It's too formal. I'm trying to be more informal in these videos, but yeah, I've also been playing a lot of I did it again, it's just it's automatic. I've been playing a lot of Halo Infinite because the campaign came out, and man, it's good. Thank God, it's a good campaign. It's better than good. It's bloomin' fantastic. And if I sound like I'm less enthusiastic than you might expect talking about it, it's just because having written my monthly Xbox All Access blog post about it, and then having written my Game of the Year listings, which is going to be coming out later this month, I'm a little bit burnt out on talking about this game, but trust me, Halo Infinite's campaign is amazing, and you should, if you've got Game Pass, you should absolutely go and play it. I would even go so far as to say you don't even have to have played any of the previous Halos. It's a fairly self-contained story. There's obviously moments that lead up into it, and it obviously ties up storylines that have been happening already. But if you know nothing about Halo, I think it's fairly simple to understand what's going on, and it should, like, even if it is like your first one and you're like, oh, I don't know why this happened, it doesn't ruin the story, and you can go back and experience the previous ones if you want in a Master Chief Collection. That would be my advice to you. Or just play through them all in the Master Chief Collection, which is what I did. Honestly, it ranks amongst my favourite Halo campaigns, up there with Halo Reach and Halo 4. yeah, don't at me, I liked Halo 4. I think I've been over this in a previous Waypoint. The open world nature of it is really fun and rewarding. There's still a bunch of stuff I've got to go and collect, but I'm excited to go and do it. I'm also trying not to rush off and do it all at once so that it doesn't end, because I really don't want it to end. I love that you can find little lockers with cosmetic armor coatings and gun coatings and stuff in them for multiplayer. That's amazing. I can't really think of any other game that's done that, where you unlock multiplayer rewards in single player. I mean, maybe Halo 3, but yeah, I guess I can't really think of any others. That's wild. It's a fun incentive to get people who don't normally care about the campaign to try the multiplayer, I guess. And it's a nice reward for people who like to play both. I really hope that in the future they slot other DLC campaigns into Halo Infinite. Not forever, of course, but for a decent amount of time. I feel like it's a nice foundation to continue to build off of. However, they have just registered a trademark for what sounds like the sequel to this game, and I'm honestly a little bit disappointed in that, because I want to keep playing Halo Infinite. Like, I want to work through, especially with a multiplayer, I want to work through the progression, have lots of customization options, and then work through it over time, over years, like in something like Destiny 2 or whatever, and not just have to swap to a new game and start over from scratch again in a couple of years, just like slot it in as DLC. And maybe it is, but it sounds like, it's Halo : the title, and I'm like, that sounds like a new game to me. That also raises a lot of question about store-bought cosmetic items. Like, what's the point of people? I'm never gonna buy them apart from Battle Pass stuff, but what's the point of even buying those things if you're just gonna throw the game away? Although I guess that's what Call of Duty does every year, and it makes millions, so maybe they'll do Overwatch 2 style where your cosmetics carry forward. I don't know. These are all questions which I feel like I'm asking way too early, because I haven't seen anyone talking about this. Apparently about 2/3 of the original game was cut, so this was going to be a much larger open world with more biomes and stuff, so it'd be nice if some DLC could explore those planned areas and stuff like that. Yeah, I want DLC out of this game before we move on. I don't think they've said anything about future plans yet. Again, I record this on a Sunday, so if they've come out on this Monday and said something about it and you're like, wow, I guess he didn't see the news, then yeah, it's because I didn't see the news, because I'm trapped in yesterday. So since last we spoke, the Video Game Awards happened, which is a show where they throw arbitrary awards at arbitrary video games, and then everyone gets very angry and argues about it on the internet. Or less cynically, it's a show which is put on to celebrate video games and reward developers for their hard work and celebrate them. Choose one. Normally I feel like we have more reveals, more game reveals. I feel like normally I'd be recording a video today where I'm like, oh my god, this got revealed and this got revealed, but honestly, like, I think the only thing there that really made me sit up in my chair and go, oh, I mean, apart from the graphics of the new Hellblade game, that's legitimately amazing, the only thing that made me, like, I'm not gonna play that, like, it's not interesting to me. It's just the graphics in the trailer were pretty, and it was like, oh, this looks like the kind of pre-rendered CGI cinematics games put out nowadays as trailers, except it's the game, which is insane. But in terms of games which stood out to me, that Star Wars Eclipse game, and this isn't even something where I've gone back and rewatched the trailer. I was only half watching the trailer when I saw it, but I was trying to figure out what it even was, because I was like, well, this just looks like the prequels. Like, again, I haven't rewatched it, I don't know if it's obvious to look at, but I was like, this just looks like clips from the prequels, except it's not. These parts aren't in the movies. I know those movies quite well. And it turns out it's a narrative-based game set in the High Republic era of Star Wars, which I've still not delved into. I've heard good things about at least some of the stories that have taken place there so far, but I am intrigued, because if I'm correct, this would be the first High Republic story to really have visuals, and the fact that it all looks like the prequels is a little bit concerning, because you'd want it to have its own aesthetic like the Old Republic era does. Obviously the Old Republic era isn't canon anymore, but like, you go play Star Wars The Old Republic or Knights of the Old Republic, and like, those ships have like their own kind of aesthetic to them, whereas the High Republic ships don't, and I'm wondering if that's meant to be the case, or if the people who are doing this visual narrative game What the fuck's a visual narrative game, Christian? Get it together. I'm wondering if the people who are making Star Wars Eclipse were a little daunted at the task of setting the visual tone for the entirety of the High Republic and therefore just opted to go with how the prequels looked, which I hope isn't the case. But anyway, you know what? I'm gonna stop talking about it and go and watch the trailer again. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, so the first thing I've noticed is that it's called a cinematic trailer, so this isn't necessarily how the game's going to look. Given that it's like a narrative-based game, I was wondering if they were gonna go all out on the visuals, and that was what the game might actually look like, considering it's not like having you directly control a character, you're just making decisions or whatever. But no, that's just I mean, after the Hellblade trailer, anything's possible, right? You know, and that fucking Matrix Awakens demo, which we'll get to in a minute, holy shit. But yeah, also to kind of go back on what I said, they do have some unique looking spaceships and star freighters and shit like that. They're not called star freighters in Star Wars. You know what I mean, no. I was mostly taken aback by the shot of the Jedi Council room with either Yoda or someone who is the same species as Yoda, and that picture of what looked like a Federation ship with like the big ball in the middle. They both look straight out of the prequels, but on closer inspection the Federation ball thing looks a little bit different, and there's these V like shaped freighter ships which are really cool looking. But yeah, very excited to learn more about that. I love that Star Wars, Marvel and DC are just going all out on video games these days. I love it. Like, nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? Like, some of them are clearly not going to be as good as they're made out to be, but some are, which reminds me, I want to give DC Universe Online a shot at some point, because it is on Xbox and it does have achievements. But hey, one MMO at a time, which reminds me, let me check my place in the Final Fantasy XIV queue. I'm down to position 5,980. Who knows, I may be able to get an evening in, but I'm gonna have to keep checking it every 5 bloody minutes to make sure that I haven't been kicked out of the queue. Right, yes, okay, nobody cares, moving on. So, I've never played It Takes Two, and I'm not about to badmouth a game I've never played. And I'm not about to whinge. I don't know how to continue this sentence without saying but. It won Game of the Year against Ratchet & Clank, Psychonauts 2, Resident Evil Village, and a whole host of other games which I just assumed would be above it. And at first, honestly, quite cynically, wait, oh yeah, sorry. I was wondering why the game was restarting. This is the overtime round. Okay, Christian, get it together. Quite cynically, because I misremembered Hades having won last year at the Game Awards when it wasn't eligible because it had already come out or something, I thought to myself, oh, are they just always going to pick the indie? Like, I know Hades would have deserved it, but like, are they just always going to pick the indie of a batch? And then I went and looked up previous winners. I was like, oh, It Takes Two is the first indie to win Game of the Year, actually. Whoops. I'm looking at that game and I just can't believe it's better than the other games on that list. Like, I'm sure it's brilliant, but like, I just really? Like, really? Okay, anyway, that was that. Forza Horizon 5 got robbed, etc, etc. But hey, at least it still got some awards, unlike Ratchet & Clank or Psychonauts 2. Man, those games deserved awards, and I mean, I played a little bit of one and I don't have a PS5 for the other, but just look at them, like, they absolutely deserve some. Like, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart didn't even get an award when it's so fucking groundbreaking in its use of the SSD and how it instantly loads levels as you step through portals. Like, that's gotta be worth something. But Psychonauts 2, on the other hand, I don't know, give it art direction or something. Speaking of groundbreaking games, or at least their tech demos, The Matrix Awakens is something that you should absolutely go ahead and download if you've got an Xbox Series XS or a PS5. You should go and download it right now. I almost didn't bother, but I was hearing some good things, and basically it opens with a little video, and then it goes into, which is kind of like showing off the stuff they could do with character models and changing realities on the fly and stuff like that. And then they go into a little scripted gameplay street chase scene, which looks like a scene from one of the original Matrix movies, except you are now in control of it, which didn't impress me too much, but it was neat. And then it goes into a little flyby which lets you, which shows you parts of a city and lets you toggle things on and off to see how it works and look at all the polygons being loaded and stuff, which was pretty cool. Pretty standard tech demo stuff, but pretty cool. And obviously, I don't know enough about game engines and game design to understand the magnitude of how amazing some of these things I'm being shown are, obviously, but I'm just going to assume they're pretty amazing. But what really sold it for me is that after all that, they put you into a free roam, and it's the entire city. And if you haven't seen footage of this yet, go and look it up. It is the most realistic looking, I mean it's not a game, but it's the most realistic looking video game engine thing ever. And you're walking around a city, and like the sense of scale and the sense of reality and everything is absolutely fucking wild. The amount of work it must have taken them to create this tech demo as well. It's like such a fully fleshed out and realized city, and there's no gameplay to it. You just walk around or fly around or take a car and drive around. That's it. And I played it for over an hour, and I haven't uninstalled it yet because I want to go back and tinker some more. And it's got a few secrets hidden around as well, and it's just amazing, like what consoles can do now. Like, why spend thousands of pounds on a PC when you can do this with a, you know, £400 console or however much they cost, I don't remember anymore. On S it wasn't as good as it could have been, obviously, but it was still amazing. So yeah, go download that, give it a shot. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. By then my queue might have finally ended.